Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Krishna, Kavana Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostate. Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya, Jagat Hitaya, Krishnaya, Govindaya, Te Namaha. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanasute Devi, Pranamami, Haripriye. Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya, Krishna Chaitanya, Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। कोटि वैष्णव की जय। हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा
Yeah.
प्रणाम। So welcome everyone. So today we will start with the new prayer, that is prayers of Lord Indra. So we all know this, what is the in what context this prayer comes, the Govardhan Leela, right? So after the Govardhan Leela, so what had happened, someone can shortly explain?
Nand Maharaj and everybody in the village were getting ready to perform a ritual for pleasing Lord Indra, for giving rains for the crops and all. But Krishna persuaded them to not do the ritual for Indra, instead do that for Govardhan Hill, because that's what is giving them everything. And they all agreed to Krishna and do the ritual for Govardhan Hill instead of Indra. And Indra gets upset, and he gives incessant rains and flooding, and Krishna lifts the Govardhan Hill, and all of Vrindavan stands under it for 7 full days. And after that, Indra understands his position.
So what was the
and
name of the
celebrates.
cloud? What is the name of the cloud?
Oh, I don't know, Mataji.
Okay, anyone else knows the name of the cloud which Indra sent? Samvartaka. Okay, continue.
What is that, Mataji? Kind of broke. What's the name?
Samvartaka cloud.
Samvartaka. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Indra realizes his position, and then he comes to apologize Krishna, and these were the prayers spoken by him at that time.
Yes, very good. Yes. So this was the context. So Indra then realizes, because what did Krishna do? Just with his no, little finger, right? Like it was so easy, like just lifting like some flower, no? Something like that. Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, which was so huge then. Actually, it is said Govardhan hill is reducing day by day, and by end of Kali Yuga, it will completely vanish. Every year it is reducing by the mustard seed price. So over the 5,000 years back it was. So it was so huge, and Krishna just lifted so easily with the to protect his devotees, and Krishna could understand. Actually, Krishna wanted to. This was the ego of the of Indra. He wanted to shatter that. No, he wanted to teach him a lesson. And so that is why the Lord has to do this. So sometimes Krishna gives punishment to the demons, and sometimes to correct the devotees. Even sometimes when we do mistakes, right? So we don't know, like we become very arrogant, or we become out of, like when somebody has power and money, they that will actually change the person. I mean, the person can change. Because of that, he can become arrogant and towards others, and very proud. No, he become very uh, proud of himself and these things. And that is why sometimes when somebody takes in devotional service, there will be so many checks in their path, and Krishna checked that. And if something is actually holding them from performing this devotional service, Krishna will stop there. And I mean, he will, something, he may lose his job, or like anything can happen. Like sometimes we will not understand, like why after taking to devotional service something is happening, all this bad things are like that. But actually, Krishna knows which is good for us, because that is the one which is going to stay with us eternally. Because when uh, when we leave one body and go to the next life, obviously we are carrying the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So if you are molded to be a good person, that is good, right, for next life. Or I mean, if we are going to born next. Otherwise, if we are going back to Godhead also, we need to purify. So that's all for purification. And here also for purification, it is for, because Indra is also a devotee. He's not a demon, right? So yeah. So then mm, so Krishna actually lifted for 7 days and 7 nights, because Indra couldn't believe that it was Krishna, and he was testing him. And so finally he understood that this is none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead. And actually it is said that when he apologizes, when he asks an apology, or when he surrenders to the Lord, Krishna knew, and Krishna didn't want to humiliate him in front of all Brajvasis. And Krishna, after this Leela, and then when Indra understood, he stopped the rain. He went somewhere, and he was grazing, like he was sitting on some hill, and Krishna was playing flute, and he was sitting there. And then Indra comes there, and he begs his pardon, and then then Krishna forgives him, right? It is said someone else also came with Indra. Who was that?
Surabhi the cow.
Surabhi Mataji.
Yeah.
Surabhi.
Yes,
cow.
Surabhi cow. So where does this Surabhi cow live? We have heard of this Surabhi cow, right? So where does she? From where is she coming?
Goloka Vrindavan. Or
Yes. Yes, Goloka. So Surabhi, Palayantam. We have what is that? Chinta Mani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vruteshu Surabhira Vipalayantam. We have like that. So there are lots of Surabhis in Goloka, and they're giving so much of milk. So similarly, actually, Surabhi, Prabhupada says, Surabhi is coming out of love and happiness without any fear, because she loves Krishna. No, Krishna is actually he loves the cows. So, but then Indra was out of fear, because he had committed this offense onto the lotus feet of the Lord. So Krishna, so these are the prayers. So there are, I think, around 4 to 13. But then very big purport, this chapter for the fourth verse, if you see the purport. So what we'll do?
Hare Krishna Mataji. This Chintamani, I got some from somewhere. Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Vraksha is the same one.
Brahma Samhita. Yeah.
This one, no?
Where?
Laksha Viristu
Yeah,
Surabhi.
same thing. That is from Brahma Samhita, no?
Okay. No, I got
From
from
Brahma.
this Prabhupada's book. Now we are reading Life and Death. From
Okay, there
somewhere I
also
got
it was
this. It was
Chintamani. Yeah, yeah.
given.
Yes, it's the same thing. So, that is from Brahma Samhita. Okay. So we'll start. So Srimad Bhagavatam, this is from Canto 10, chapter 27, verse 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtakim Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yatrupatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Guru Deenadayanam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नेक्स्ट इंद्र उवाच विशुद्धसत्त्वं तव धावशान्तं तपोमयं द्वष्टरजस्तमस्कं मायामयो अयं गुणसम्प्रवाहो नाविद्यते ते ग्रहणानुबन्धः इन्द्र उवाच
Indra
Indra
Uvacha.
Uvacha
विशुद्धसत्त्वं तव धाम शान्तम्
Vishuddha Sattvam
Vishuddhasattvam
Tavadham Santam
Tavadhamasantam
तपोमयं द्वष्टरजस्तमस्कम्
Tapomayam
Tapomayam
Vasarajastamaskam
Vasarajastamaskam
मायामयो अयं गुणसम्प्रवाहो
Mayamayo
Mayamayo
Ayam
Ayam
Gunasampravaho
Gunasampravaho
नाविद्यते ते ग्रहणानुबन्धः
Navidyate
Navidyate
Grahananubandha
Grahananubandhana.
इन्द्र उवाच
Indra Uvacha
विशुद्धसत्त्वं तव धाम शान्तम्
Vishuddha
Vishuddhasattvam
Sattvam Tavadham
Tavadhamasantam
Santam
तपोमयं द्वष्टरजस्तमस्कम्
Tapomayam
Tapomayam
Vasarajastamaskam
Vasarajastamaskam
मायामयो अयं गुणसम्प्रवाशो
Mayamayo Ayam Gunasampravaho
Sampravaho
नाविद्यते ते ग्रहणानुबन्धः
Navidyate
Navidyate
Grahananubandha.
What we'll do? Was it? I will tell, like I will, like we'll read some paragraphs and then we'll stop and we'll discuss.
Okay, Mataji.
Mataji, you start. Yeah.
Sure.
I will, until I tell you read, okay? Yeah.
Okay, Mataji.
I will.
Hi. Yeah. Hare Krishna, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Indra said, your transcendental form, a manifestation of pure goodness, is undisturbed by change, shining with knowledge and devoid of passion and ignorance. In you does not exist the mighty flow of the modes of material nature, which is based on illusion and ignorance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great Bhagavatam commentator Srila Sridhara Swami has masterfully explained the Sanskrit elements of this profound verse. The Sanskrit word dhamma has several meanings: dwelling place, house, abode, and so on. A favorite thing or person, delight or pleasure, form or appearance, power, strength, majesty, glory, splendor, or light. Concerning the first set of meanings, the Vedanta Sutra states that the absolute truth is the source and resting place of all existence. And in the first verse of Bhagavatam, that absolute truth is said to be Krishna. Although Lord Krishna exists in his own Dhamma or abode, called Krishna Loka, he himself is the abode of all existence, as Arjuna confirms in the Bhagavad Gita, where he addresses Krishna as Parandama, the supreme abode. The very name Krishna indicates the all attractive person, and thus Lord Krishna, the source of all beauty and pleasure, is certainly the favorite thing or person, delight or pleasure. Ultimately, these terms can refer only to Krishna. Dhamma also refers to form or appearance, and as Indra offered these prayers, he was in fact directly seeing the form of Krishna before him. As clearly explained in the Vedic literature, Lord Krishna's power, strength, majesty, splendor, and effulgence are all contained within his transcendental body and thus attest to the infinite glories of the Lord. Srila Sridhara Swami has brilliantly summarized all these meanings of the word Dhamma by giving the Sanskrit term Swarupa as a synonym. The word Swarupa means one's own form or shape, and also one's own condition, character, or nature. Since Lord Krishna, being pure spirit, is non different from his body, there is absolutely no difference between the Lord and his visible form. By contrast, in this material world, we conditioned souls are all distinctly different from our bodies, whether those bodies be male, female, black, white, or whatever. All of us are eternal souls, different from our temporary, flimsy bodies.
Thanks, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So what is being discussed here? So yeah, so there are different meanings for the word Dhamma, which we have here in the sloka, right? Dhamma, you can see it, the form. But here, Dhamma is actually mentioned regarding the form of the Lord. But we have also heard, because we know that in Sanskrit, when we take like, there are different meanings for the same word. It's not like English. No? There are so many different, like here it is given, dwelling place, house, abode. So we know like Krishna's abode also, Arjuna addresses as Parandhama, right? The eternal abode. Every deity has a different abodes. We see that 14 planetary system, and all the every one has a head, right? Every place has a head, and deity is residing there. But then the topmost is the Goloka, where Krishna resides with his eternal associates. And Krishna is he has been mentioned here that he is of all, as clearly explained, Lord Krishna's power, strength, majesty, splendor, and effulgence are all contained within his transcendental body, because the Lord's and thus attest to the infinite glories of the Lord. So basically, we know that the difference between Krishna's body and our body, right? So there is a purpose is there is no difference in Krishna's body, his mind, intelligence, everything, right? But for us, everything is separate. Yes, but but what will happen when we go to our spiritual body? We also have a spiritual body. We have a right. So when we go to spiritual world, this material intelligence and the false ego, it all will leave here, because by self, the soul itself has the intelligence. It is having intelligence, just like Krishna, right? So, but because we don't have that, the spiritual intelligence we are not using. The intelligence, the material, it is actually polluted. Just like in chapter 3 says, the lust. The lust is something which is there in all the three places. One is in senses, one is in the mind, and then intelligence also, right? So, but for Krishna, because he is pure, everything is same for the Lord, right? No, there is no difference between him, and he is not is not covered by these three moods. Hence, he is pure. And so Krishna means the Akarshati iti Krishna, basically all attractive person, right? So there are 6 opulences of the Lord, right? We know that he is the Parashara Muni says, no, the Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasaha. Jnana Vairagya, right? Jnana and Vairagya. So last word says Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasa Shriya, right? The left Shriya. Jnana Vairagyaschaiva Sannam Bhaga Itingana, right? So that is Krishna is all Aishwarya means his riches. So he is all rich, and Krishna is all beautiful, right? He is all attractive. Krishna is said to be all attractive, and he is all famous. No, always Krishna is all fame and all renunciation, all knowledge, and what is one more thing? Beauty, right? Beauty, I said.
All beauty.
Yeah, beauty and vairagya, renunciation, right? So this is incomplete. So we see in this material world also, there are many people who may possess one of the qualities, but not like everything in one person, right? Like Mukesh Ambani, if you take, he may be the richest, but he may not, like many people who are rich, they cannot give up. They are so attached to their money, right? They'll be they cannot renunciate. They cannot give up to that. No, I'm not talking about that person, but I'm just saying as an example, like not like Aishwarya Rai, you know, or there are so many beautiful people, but not that they have the highest knowledge. The knowledge here mentions the supreme knowledge, which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, where we see that is the highest knowledge. So, so in all the ways we see all these things, Krishna is in full, and whatever we get, also the living entity is getting the quality from the Lord, right? And here he is praising him about his spiritual form, and so what does he say? Your transcendental form, a manifestation of pure goodness. So, right, pure goodness, it is, which is called as Shuddha Sattva, right? Is undisturbed by change, shining with knowledge. Because why is he saying? Because even the devatas comes under the mode of passion and ignorance. Because of that, they commit the mistakes, right? So, which is, but the Lord is above all that. Is what he's saying here. Okay. So we'll continue. Where did we stop? Yeah. So yeah, Prabhupada writes here how we are different from Krishna. We all have bodies different, right? So there are living entities with different bodies. So yeah, based on our desires, we have got so many different bodies. But Krishna is not like that. His eternal form, he is there same. How he came in the Goloka form only when he comes to do his Leela as Krishna, right? So Murlidhar Prabhu, please read from.
Hare Krishna. When the word Swarupa is applied to us, it especially indicates our spiritual form, because our own form is in fact our own condition, character or nature eternally. Thus, the liberated condition in which one's outward form is one's deepest spiritual nature is called Swarupa. Primarily, however, this term refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This is all indicated in this verse by the words Tava Dhamma, as explained by Sridhara Swami. Sridhara Swami has explained that here the word Shantam means always in the same form. Shantam can also mean undisturbed, free from passion, or purified. According to Vedic philosophy, all change in this world is caused by the influence of passion and ignorance. The passionate mode is creative and the ignorant mode is destructive, whereas the mode of goodness, sattva, is serene and sustaining. In many ways, this verse emphasizes that Lord Krishna is free from the modes of nature. The words Vishuddha Sattvam, Shantam, Dvasta Rajas, Tamaskam, and Guna Sampravaho Na Vidyate, they all indicate this. Unlike Krishna, we change from one body to another because of our involvement with the modes of nature. The various transformations of material forms are impelled by the modes of nature, which are themselves set in motion by the influence of time. Therefore, one who is free from the material modes of nature is changeless and eternally satisfied in blissful spiritual existence. Thus, the word Shantam indicates that the Lord is undisturbed by change, since he is free from the material modes of nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here we're discussing about the here Shantam means always in the same. Truly Prabhupada explains about the Swarupa here in this verse. I think here, the previous one. So the Swarupa, it is actually applied to us. The Swarupa is the virginal form. That is our spiritual forms. But then here in this verse, it is mentioned to Krishna, right? So that's it is mentioned here. Own condition or nature. However, this term refers to Supreme Personality of God. Primarily, however, this refers to something we hear, right? Swarupa Siddhi. That is one's spiritual identity. So, what is the spiritual identity of a soul? Nature. What is the nature of the soul? Nature is to serve, serve the Lord, right? So, yeah. So actually, we all how we are in different moods. How is it made? The Bhagavad Gita explains that there are how this 84 lakh species came by that the different combinations of three gunas, sattva, raja, and tamo. Karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmasu, right? So how uh, uh, the different species are formed by just by different modes. Like we can see in this world, even in the human beings also, everybody are in of different character, and that is the basis of this four, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So these varnas is also made because of these gunas. So basically, Brahmana means he will be in a Satvika, right? Sattva guna. So, and this Kshatriya king, he has the qualities of little bit of Sattva and morely 90% of Rajas, right? So he has that, he want power and he is very, brave, and these things are like, it is most of the, and he want, they want to acquire more kingdom and all that is there. So that is more Rajasic king. And then this Vaishyas. So Vaishyas are usually Rajasic and Tamo. Less percentage of Tamoguna and more of Rajasic. And then and this Shudras are basically the mostly, it is said in Shastra that Tamoguna is more. Actually, Prabhupada says, even in the earlier time, Shudras were very good. Like you can take any work from them, they would help these other three categories, right? Brahmana, Kshatriya, but in Kali Yuga, all are fifth grade Shudras, Prabhupada says. That too, born, like we are all like Shudras. Prabhupada says all Kalau Shudra Sambhava. No? Shastra says that in Kali Yuga, only the name may be they may be in different caste or anything, but in Kali Yuga, usually this is only found in Kali Yuga, where people are not doing work based on their caste. In the earlier Yugas, it is not like that. They were based on because Krishna made this caste system based on the Guna and Varna, right? Chaturvarnya Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. And then he says, Tasya Kartaram Abhimam, Vidya Kartaram Abhimam. So these four divisions of society, Krishna made based on Guna and Karma. But now if we see, mostly because all are doing like Shudra work, Prabhupada says, right? Nobody is Brahmanical, very rarely we see somebody is doing the Brahmanical like Prabhupada, and he has his disciples who are preaching all over the world. And this is Brahmanical because they are learning and also giving the knowledge of this Vedas to others, right? So these are all there, but Krishna is above all that. No, he does not get affected by either influence of time or by the modes of nature. So here we all get influenced by the mode influence of time, and one becomes old, right? We every day, like how the body change and we all die. But then For Krishna's body, it doesn't happen anything like that, right? He's always like Navayavvanam cha. He's always a 16-year-old boy. Who wants to continue according to this verse?
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah.
According to this verse, the powerful flow of the material modes of nature, namely passion, stupidity, and mundane piety, are based on agrahana, which Srila Sridhara Swami has translated as ignorance. Since the Sanskrit root graha means to take, accept, grasp, or comprehend, grahana means grasp exactly in the sense of to grasp an idea or fact. Therefore, agrahana here means one's failure to understand one's spiritual position, and this failure causes one to fall into the violent currents of material existence. An additional meaning of the word agrahana is derived when it is divided into the compound agrahana. Agra means the first, top, or best, and hana means killing. The best part of our existence is the pure soul, which is eternal, in contradistinction to the temporary material body and mind. Thus, one who chooses material existence over Krishna consciousness is in fact killing the best part of himself, the soul, which in its pure state can enjoy Krishna consciousness unlimitedly. Srila Sridhara Swami has translated tapomayam as full of knowledge. The word tapas, generally indicating austerity, is derived from the Sanskrit verb tap, whose meaning can be summarized as indicating the various functions of the sun. Excuse me. Tap means
Continue.
to
Tap,
shine.
tap. It is tap. Tap.
Sorry. Tap means to burn, to shine, to heat, and so on. The Supreme Lord is eternally perfect, and therefore here tapomayam does not indicate that his transcendental body is meant for austerities, since austerities are performed by conditioned souls to purify themselves or to acquire a particular power. An omnipotent, perfect being neither purifies himself nor acquires power. He is eternally pure and all powerful. Therefore, Sridhara Swami has intelligently understood that in this case, the word tapas refers to the illuminating function of the sun and thus indicates that the Lord's self effulgent body is omniscient. Light is a common symbol of knowledge. The Lord's spiritual effulgence does not merely illuminate physically, as in the case of a candle or light bulb. More importantly, the Lord's body uh, illuminates our consciousness with perfect knowledge because the Lord's effulgence is itself perfect knowledge. We offer our respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Sridhara Swami and thank him for his enlightening comments on this verse. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here two things are discussed. One is that the conditioned soul is in full of ignorance and the Lord is in full of knowledge, right? And our ignorance can be taken away by the Lord. So it is basically if we are Krishna is always, if we come in contact with the Lord, all our ignorance will go. So Prabhupada says see if we are hiding inside and if we don't want to come in sunlight, so we say it is darkness. So what should we do? We have to take help, no? We have to come out and take the sunlight. So similarly, when we are in ignorance, why are we first in ignorance? First of all, why are we in ignorance? Why are what is the reason of this ignorance?
Because we forgot our constitutional position as a servant of Krishna.
Yes. So basically what happens if we in previous lives, we are continuously engaged in either sinful activities or sense gratification. So our intelligence is covered. So it cannot differentiate between what is right and what is wrong, right? So that is the work of the intelligence. It has to discriminate. It should discriminate what is correct and what is wrong. But that discrimination is gone because of our indulging in sinful activities. So we don't remember, but so many lives we have taken, and we have been indulging in the sinful activities and sense gratification. So what has happened? The intelligence is covered. So because of that, what happened when somebody is too much, like Prabhupada says that if especially like who is we were if we are eating meat and these things, right, in the previous life or this life. So what happens? We are like if we don't come to Krishna consciousness, like if we have taken in this life, then surely Krishna will give protection. But in the previous lives, we don't know how, when, what we have done, right? So before coming to Krishna consciousness, so how the living entities will take the birth accordingly. So when somebody is in full ignorance, Krishna says that they will be, taking birth in the lower species. So only after the these three modes, one comes over these three mode, one will be coming to the, like he will be getting the right knowledge, and Krishna says that he will do the work which is beneficial for the soul. So that things one cannot do when somebody is in ignorance, right? So when you ask someone to take up to Bhagavad Gita also, so they will say that this is not the age, right? Why should we do? But basically, if we don't take in younger the when we are when somebody is very small, like Kaumara Macharit Pratna, like Prahlad Maharaj said, right? In the small age, one should take. Why it is said? Because older the person becomes, he has his own, he has his own belief systems. Very difficult for a person to change that in anything, like the it's what to say, the plant can bend, right? Or the but the tree which has grown, which it cannot bend, right? It is very difficult once it become tree. So that is why it is said from childhood it has to be given, and they will only the age will become, but then people will die ignorant only because they are not interested in taking up to Krishna. So Krishna has given us all these scriptures and Bhagavad Gita, but nobody wants to study. If I don't study, then it is a loss for me, right? So Krishna is he's so here his effulgence has been compared to the perfect knowledge. So yeah, we will go to the next verse. Text 5. Kuto nu tadhe tava isha tatkrita lobhadayo ye abuddhalinga bhavaha tathapi dandam bhagavan bibharti dharmasya guhyai khala nigrahaya kuto nu tadhe tava isha tatkrita
Kuto nu tadve tavaish tatkrita
lobhadayo ye abhudalinga bhavaha
lobhadayo ye abhudalinga bhavaha
tathapi dandam bhagavan bibharti
tathapi dandam bhagavan bibharti
dharmasya guhyai khala nigrahaya
dharmasya gupyai khala nigrahaya
kuto nu tadde tava isha tatkrita
kuto nu tadye tavaish tatkrita
lobhadayo ye abhudalinga bhavaha
lobhadayo ye abhudalinga bhavaha
tathapi dandam bhagavan bibharti
tathapi dandam bhagavan bibharti
dharmasya guhyai khala nigrahaya
dharmasya gupyai khala nigrahaya.
We'll read. Who isn't right? Yeah. Yes.
Translation. How then could there exist in you the symptoms of an ignorant person? such as greed, lust, anger, and envy, which are all powerful.
Hare
Which are
Krishna.
all produced by one's previous involvement in material existence and which cause one to become further entangled in material existence. And yet, as the Supreme Lord, you impose punishment to protect religious principles and curb down the wicked. Purport. This complex philosophical statement by Indra may be analyzed as follows. In the first line of this verse, Indra refers to the main idea expressed at the end of the previous verse, namely that the great currents of material existence, which are based on ignorance, cannot possibly exist within the Supreme Lord. The words Tadhitatva and Tatkrata indicate that something causes the modes of nature to manifest and that they in turn become the cause of that which caused them. In the second line of this verse, we find that it is material feelings such as greed, lust, envy, and anger that cause the modes of nature to manifest and that are themselves caused by the modes of nature. The explanation of this seeming paradox is as follows. When the conditioned soul decides to associate with the material qualities, he becomes contaminated by those qualities, as stated in Gita 13.22. Karanam guna sango asaya sad asad yoni janmasu. For example, in the presence of a seductive woman, a man may give in to his lower instincts and try to enjoy sex with her. By his deciding to associate with the lower qualities of nature, those qualities manifest in him very powerfully. He is overwhelmed with lust and driven to try again and again to satisfy his burning desire. Because his mind has been infected by lust, and all that he does, thinks, and speaks will be influenced by his strong attachment to sex. In other words, by choosing to associate with the lusty qualities of nature, he has caused them to powerfully manifest within himself. And eventually, those lusty qualities themselves will cause him to accept another material body suitable for affairs governed by those qualities. The lower qualities such as lust, greed, anger, and envy are abudha linga bhavaha, symptoms of ignorance. Indeed, as indicated by Srila Sridhara Swami in his commentary, the manifestation of the modes of nature is synonymous with the manifestation of a particular material body. It is clearly explained throughout the Vedic literature that the conditioned soul receives a particular body, gives it up, and then accepts another simply because of his involvement with the modes of nature. Karanam guna sango asya. Thus, to say that one is participating in the modes of nature is to say that one is accepting particular types of bodies suitable for the particular material qualities one is involved with. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. What happened, Mataji?
Should I continue, Mataji?
Yes,
And
somewhere. Internet is- Okay, where were you? I couldn't hear you.
this
Continue.
paragraph. An ignorant bystander might have simplistically interpreted Krishna's pastime of lifting Govardhana hill as follows. The residents of Vrindavana were obliged by Vedic principles to make certain offerings to the
Let me
god
see
of
how more
heaven.
it is there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can finish.
Okay. God of heaven, Indra. Child Krishna, ignoring the position of Indra, usurped these offerings and took them for his own pleasure. When Indra tried to punish Krishna and his associates, the Lord frustrated Indra's attempt, humiliated him, and exhausted his prize and resources. But this superficial interpretation is refuted in this verse. Here, Lord Indra addresses Sri Krishna as Bhagavan, indicating that he is not an ordinary child, but in fact God. Therefore, Krishna's punishing Indra was part of his mission of protecting religious principles and curbing down the envious. It was not a display of material anger or of greed for the offerings meant for Indra. Shri Krishna is pure spiritual existence, and his simple, sublime desire is to engage all living beings in the perfect, blissful life of Krishna consciousness. Krishna's desire to make us Krishna conscious is not egoistical. Since ultimately Krishna is everything and Krishna conscious is objectively the best consciousness, Lord Indra is really the humble servant of Krishna. A fact he is now beginning to remember. Hare Krishna.
Correct. So, what do we see here? Like how one gets the material bodies because of the association with the modes. Like whatever we associate with, we get that kind of body in the next life, right? And so here, Prabhupada explains like how one can fall down because of, we have he is giving an example here, like when a person is coming in presence of a seductive woman, a man gives up his lower instincts because that lust is there, right? So that we know that the places of lust, we just discussed how it is there in intelligence, mind, and the senses. So when that is completely covered, right, the intelligence, then the person acts based on his material intelligence and mind. So, so we are reading even in the Bhagavatam at morning the story of Puranjana. So actually it is for us only, but Narad Muni is giving an example like he is taking a case of actually he's speaking to Prachina Varshit, the king, but he can't tell directly that to the king. So he's taking an example like one Puranjana. So if we in that story if we take, so he was so much attached to his wife, and he was so obsessed, and he had like he committed so many sins in that life, and he had so many children, right? So uh, so even like dying, like when he became very old, also he was thinking only about family and wife, and that was the reason he will be born as a woman in the next life. They said so based on one's so Prabhupada says one is a husband is very much attached to wife, and his thoughts will be at the time of dying about wife. Then the man will be born as a woman in the next life, and vice versa, right? So that way, in this material world, only Krishna, actually, it may look like on the bodily platform that man, women, but actually only Krishna is the Purusha. All are for enjoyment only. Krishna is the only enjoyer, right? That is what we say. Krishna, Bhuktaram Yagna Tapasam. So Krishna is the only enjoyer, and we are not. We are all Prakriti only. We are all Prakriti only, and so we cannot. We cannot enjoy. No, when we have that enjoying mentality, we are going to suffer in this material world. And so, how it happens, how a man fall down. There is a sloka in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, right? ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So when a person is, it all starts with a contemplation, right? Contemplation of on sense object. So, dhyayato vishayan pumsa, that is contemplation. Sangasteshu upajayate means he develops the attachment. Sangat sanjayate kama. So from that attachment, the lust develops. And then kama krodhu vijayate, right? When that doesn't get fulfilled, he becomes the krodha, that is anger. And if it gets fulfilled, it becomes greedy. He wants more, right? Krodho vijayat. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha means he is in illusion. Means he is not able to, he totally lost his intelligence. He cannot make out what is right. And Samoha Smriti Vibrahamaha. Smriti Vibrahamaha means the bewilderment of memory, right? Memory, and then Smriti Bramshat Buddhi Nashaha. Buddhi Nasha means loss of intelligence. Buddhi Nashat Pranashati. So the man finally he falls down from the path. So we have seen the examples, like it happens with everyone. Like in the Shastras, if we take, we see the Ajamila story is best example for this, right? So how it happened. But then for the devotees, they don't fall down, right? Instead, uh, they give the association and they make the other person also devotee. Just like we see the Haridas Thakur, right? Even the prostitute, and she like was a very beautiful woman, but he was not disturbed because he was very fixed in Krishna consciousness. So when somebody is having full faith and dedicated in the Lord, so Krishna will only save them, and Krishna gives them intelligence, so they know how to act, right? So otherwise, like if we have to take in a we all have this, right? That which is discussed here: lust, anger, and greed, right? Three things which is actually the enemy, right? The ignorance is the, see, we can see the lower qualities: lust, anger, greed, and envy are abhuda linga bhava, symptoms of ignorance. So if we have these qualities, that means we are still ignorant. We may think that no, I'm not no, I'm not greedy, I don't get, or I'm not lusty, but still subtle it will be there, right? So it can you give some practical examples how like we can be either lusty or okay, lust we will go an example. It may not be like be only, like in general example, see, we have enough clothing, so still we go on buying, right? That is lust, which makes us buy. Or somebody is having a house, we know, like people invest in so many houses or bungalows or cars, but it's all lust only, right? So actually it is whatever and working more than needed, atyahara prayasascha. No, that is atyahara, like I want more. Even eating also. Eating, when you go to a restaurant, so there is a buffet, fixed amount for the buffet. So we eat actually more than what is required, right? We eat more because anyways it is free, right? Something is free, we want to have. So that is that can be a lust, or that can be greed also. So it is greedy, becoming greed, or some discount offer is going on, right? So many people will go there to buy, though they may not need that product, but you end up buying, right? Even if you go to supermarket, sometimes we see that, and we will buy the items which we don't need actually, because those are that shows that is greed only, right? So any examples you can remember, can add like that on our anger, like anger also, right? Like this anger will come when you are like somebody is not listening to you, the children, right? You will shout on them. So the same anger we will not get on our seniors, if you are working, like, or you don't get. So that means we know that somebody is junior, with him I can be angry, with her I can be angry, but then I can't be angry with boss, because with your boss, if you become angry, they'll send you off. So basically uh, we are we are not able to like wherever we are possible, we are showing our anger, but that shows that it is not based on situation, right? Situation is same, situation could be same, and many times when a situation happen in a house, not everybody reacts in the same manner, right? Somebody is very sattvic, they may not get disturbed so much by whatever the person said. But we also, in the relationships or with the friends, when somebody said something, we sometimes if we take very offended, that means still there is so much of, we have to get purified. What is, we get, we get, that means we are still in the, you see the sattvic people, they won't, they're like, they usually, they try to see more positivity in everything. They don't get disturbed by things. So even in the Vaishnava etiquette also, like when we have to do a peaceful japa. If you are humble and tolerance is the two things which is more very much stressed. So where when we are tolerant means what? Even if somebody is not giving you respect or criticizing you, humiliating you, so that time also we are not getting disturbed by thinking what? We can take in two ways. One is that thinking that maybe my previous karma, no, because of which I am suffering. The other thing is, it depends on him, right? His sanskar and not nothing to do with mine, right? So in that way, when we think, so whatever he says, like even if somebody appreciate it, is basically it shows their thing, no? Their sanskara, their goodness, they're appreciating. It has nothing to do with me actually. So if I think like that, even I will not be proud. Something is achieved also. If I think somebody is praising me also, that time also I should think the same thing. And even if somebody is degrading me or hurting me also, if I think it is not with me, or it is to do with the other person. But sometimes, yeah, when somebody is senior and in the spiritual path, we will have to take their advices. But otherwise, in material platform, when we meet people and people are being very uh, rude or like that, we should not get disturbed, and that will affect our uh, spiritual life. We will not be able to do japa peacefully. That is the thing. Like tolerance and humility is very much stressed, and yeah, so one should not control anger, and yeah, so enviousness. So actually, even in the spiritual world, if you take these three things, lust, anger, greed, you know, even that is, you can dovetail in Krishna's service, right? Lust, like gopis, they were lusty towards Krishna, but then it was for Krishna, hence they get, it is purified, the lust also. And then greedy. No, it is said that but to advance in Krishna consciousness, one has to be greedy, to know more of Krishna, to hear about more and more about Krishna. Tatra laulyam ekamulyam means only the value that we have to give is greed. And anger also. So we know, we have examples where devotees showed anger for Krishna, like Lord Hanuman. He burnt Lanka also, but then that was for the Lord Ram. So that is also accepted. But only thing which does not favor us is enviousness. Right? This is the reason also why we are in this material world, because I wanted to enjoy, separate from Krishna. And this enviousness, Krishna doesn't like. There are many instances, even with the gopis, when they're not gopis. So yeah, gopis. So if they're not gopis, they're like proud, right? When they become proud, also Krishna don't like. He leaves from there. But enviousness, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, after giving all instruction to Arjuna, at the end he says that don't tell this confidential knowledge to one who is not austere. Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrusha vacham na cha mam yogya suyati. So he says, idante na tapaskaya, one who is not austere, and na bhaktaya means who is not a devotee, and then nacha shushrusha vacham, don't tell this instruction to the one who is yogi suyati, asuyati means one who is very envious of. So those people we should not go and preach. But actually the acharyas are very, generous, and they were merciful. They teach everyone, because Uttama Adhikari, he sees everyone is equal, right? So how Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavyasti Shuni Chaipa Pakecha Pandita Samadarshini. So they want to give Krishna for everyone. without any discrimination. So more and more somebody advance in Krishna conscious, they develop compassion for others. So then you don't develop this anger and enviousness. So enviousness, we have to be more compassionate, and greedy also. We should not be very greedy. Like Ishopanishad, right? Ishopanishad or Ishopanishad, it says Magruda kasvachit dhanam. Like don't aspire for others' money. No, something is free, everybody wants. Like in Karnataka, there was in the recent current government, they introduced the free money to free women, for women who were at home. They were giving like 2,000 rupees. So even people who, that is actually for people who are poor, but then everybody applied, right? Though they have, that is greed for money. And even this ration when they give, right? For poor it is actually, but then even the people who are above the poverty line also, many people take this advantage and they take the free rations and these things. So this is there, this mentality is there in us, and this can get only purified when we, especially when we follow these 4 regulative principles, and Prabhupada has given this taking prasad and these things. So many, all these anarthas will go. Can someone explain me? And with that we will end. So just explain me how just by following 4 regulative principles and taking prasad, this anger, greed can be reduced. Any thoughts on that?
Mataji, this qualities will mostly depend on the modes of material nature. At that particular moment, what mode you are in the mode of goodness or in the mode of passion. So the anger which is in the mode of goodness will not be same as the anger which is in the mode of passion.
Yes. No, what I'm asking, by following regulative principle, how we can come over these enemies, anarthas.
Mataji,
So
I
if you
think
yeah.
Usually before coming to Krishna consciousness, and even we see a lot of people basically eat for sense gratification. Whatever is tasty to them, they cook
Yes.
for their own desires. But when we start offering that as prasadam, we are basically cooking and serving for pleasing Krishna and taking the remnants of that. So it starts with cutting
Yes.
down the self desires, so that definitely changes our
Yes.
greed and anger.
Yes. Yes, that is the one, right? That lust is also, because we otherwise even we feel like buying everything and for our enjoyment we used to do a lot before, right? So for all sense gratification, but then now we think about it, we give a thought, right? Whether it is really required, or do I really? I mean, we should question ourselves: is it really required? Do I need this? Right? If there is a need, then fine. Or is it lust, right? Which is making me to buy or like. So even the greed also, like eating more or these things. But initially in the spiritual life, so taking prasadam also more is allowed. But one who is advancing, they don't take too much of prasad also. Like the gulab jamun offered to Krishna, but then more if you have, then that is also self gratification only. It becomes like so too much when we have, right? So yeah, so even like for taste of tongue, people eat meat, but you give up that, and you are now offering, making prasad and giving to Krishna, and then having honoring the prasad. So that way, like we're giving up those things, uh, and it is actually said when people eat the animals, their consciousness also come to them, right? So the what we eat, we are what we eat, right? So the consciousness is of what? Animal is always fearful, and it's always in anger, and we see that no compassion. The no compassion, anger, these are also correlated because eating meat is compared to the daya, the one that compassion will go from that person, right? So we can see that how Kali Yuga is advancing and people are not very, uh, very harsh, and they don't consider the other person. They are very rude, and these behaviors are because of this eating animals and all that. And yeah, so basically we can, by being Krishna conscious and having prasad and these things following regulative principles, these all anarthas will surely uh, go from us. And we can always have a check, like whatever I'm doing, like am I doing for my own sense gratification, or is it pleasing for Krishna, right? So that way we can, at least we have the knowledge now, right? Because of Bhagavad Gita and because of Srila Prabhupada, and we have the knowledge. We know now what is right and wrong. So now at least we should take the advantage of it, and we have to apply in the life. Otherwise, we won't be able to, right? We won't be able to, uh, unless we apply, like we check on that. That is why many people, they say like, you have to maintain a diary, or we have to, at least see what changes have, is happening in me, or have I changed from what I was earlier, like 1 month, 6 months back, or is it same me? Or if there is no change, then it's of no use, right? So that check is required. Okay. Okay, we'll stop here. Big verses. I thought like we can, very less verses we can finish soon, but then these verses are very big purport. Okay, these are all small. I think those two were only very big. These seem to be very small. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Pancha Kalpataru.